Yep, in we go into the rematch of game number 2 here. We did have a crash in this Chinese mirror here on Warring Islands. Luckily, it happened fairly early on, before anything significant would have happened between either of these players.
Yes, the only thing to kind of highlight was B had a slightly more optimal build, but the key detail that mattered is DivineDFP, he only saw the tech up timing, but because B compensated with up to 8 villages, nothing was really given away. So we might just see a rinse repeat where B goes for this double dock opening, while Divine goes for the one dock. You can already see that actually, which leads to him building Imperial first, but it means his fishing is going to be weaker in about 2 minutes' time.
Yeah, same approach taken here by Divine that we have seen in the previous attempt to play this game. Rushing Feudal Age, Imperial Academy with 2 wills. On the other side, B opts to go for the wheelbarrow, delaying Feudal Age, and in particular will delay Song Dynasty even more. But in return, he's going to focus a lot more on the fishing eco. So when these players reach Castle Age, he's going to have a slightly bigger eco than his opponent.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the map right now. There's a clear favor point for B when it comes to wood long term. His starting island has more wood, and also that northern island with his build and the way these two players play, I'm expecting him to make a play for a central island with the Barbican. If he grabs that northern one, it's very kind of suffocating for Divine in this game long term. And we have to remember that in a mirror like this, where we know it's going to end up Bao Chuan on Bao Chuan, that lack of additional resources, that edge that B has in that regard, could easily be the difference here.
Yeah, this time around, B is going to have the Imperial Academy just built with 4 vills as compared to what we had in the previous run, building it with 8. I think he also started a little sooner though, so Feudal Age times will be next to identical, just like before. Let's see about the transport ships though, KP, because that's always one of the more intriguing points of this early game on this map. Where do the transports go? How big of an emphasis do we see from either of these players to expand towards the neutral islands?
Yeah, I think he's set up in a way that if he's going to play for a central island, it's actually going to be the western one, which is, I think, a little bit less value because there's more wood on the eastern one. But it's kind of negligible. There's still a lot of value. The only real big difference is that that northern island has 2 relics on it as opposed to this southern one having 1. But notice again, Divine went for the Barbican on his home island. He did get a better placement in this remake because his island has naturally kind of poked out, right? It looks like someone clapping. It looks like some weirdly shaped cone head man clapping something in front of him. This is what happens when you do ink tests with me. These are the things I see. LidaKor's now trying to see it. He's like squinting. He's like, I don't.
Looks
like one of those
LidaKor's looking
Easter
for
Island
transport
heads, you
ships,
know?
KP. Especially with blue playing on a water map where you can sometimes struggle to see those little dots moving around. I was definitely looking out for a couple of transport ships. Barbican was built back at home here for Divine on that little peninsula he has on his island. And there is
There we
B
go.
moving up with the transport.
This is the best island in my opinion. Like, I actually think that there's about the same amount of wood. This one has 2 relics, but it's also the high ground here. Like, it has this cliff. This is another thing I've noticed is in a lot of spawns, the eastern island seems to get a high ground, which is brilliantly positioned for a Barbican drop. In fact, he's going to drop it a little bit further forward. No. Was it 1 tile short? I think it was 1 tile too thin. Cool thing though is later on he can actually drop a his Imp Age landmark there, right? He can go for a Great Wall Gatehouse.
Yep. This is one of those generations where you have one large gold deposit on both of these small islands, though. So it's not like we have a clear split between a wood island and a gold island. Instead, we have 2 kind of equally significant and equally valuable islands.
Now, this does have kind of a knock-on effect that's really kind of spooky, is that if B starts to kind of push in the mid-game, and he takes the northern flank, I want you to be conscious of the fact that all of Divine's wood past his initial line is there, and it's on the shore, right? The Barbican kind of guards 1, but then if you look further north, these type of positions, you could find yourself being sprayed down by 1 Bao Chuan, right, and lose 20 villages. That's how scary the generation is for Divine.
Yeah, this is about the moment where we had the crash in the previous attempt to play this, and we have essentially the same setup here. B is going to be delayed to Song Dynasty with the Barbican, but he does have a considerable lead in terms of eco due to having more fish. And he is going to have a head start going into Castle Age here as well. The build order just feels a lot more well optimized compared to what Divine is using.
Yeah, it's like we said, that game ended so early that Divine would have no reason to sense that his build was suboptimal comparatively, right? Like there's no game sense kick in because nothing got shown, right? Like the only person who saw anything from each other was B scouting most of the map. And in fact, it's a repeat this game. If you check Divine's vision, anything he sees is from the shoreline of his main island. He hasn't looked out beyond that yet, which is unfortunate for him because B is also occupying this southern island. He's moved, I think, a villager on there and started building outposts.
Yeah, he's definitely playing a lot more expansionist than Divine is. And I feel like Divine could be in a very tough spot here. This game just reminds me so much to game number 1 between these two. Divine doing his own thing, having an okay build order, but then B just using the fact that Divine isn't expanding at all, and he just claims the entire map for himself. Now, Castle Age landmark here for Divine is going to be the Imperial Palace for the extra line of sight. Love that. Let's see what B goes up with. He's actually lacking gold very badly here.
His gold should be sorted pretty fast here. Yeah, like I don't think he's too phased about this right now. Like he's got the tax generation, he's got fat gold veins. Remember, working islands, you have 20,000 gold on your starting island. You're not running out anytime soon. So like for Divine, this is still quite the bind. Interestingly enough, B deviates from the optimal imp build. He built 2 springled ships, but this is a cool idea because Divine is forward fishing and is unprotected. He could slow down Divine's tech timing.
Yeah, Castle Age still... Castle Age is in already for B, and you see, now with the gold in, I think we could see Imperial just coming in a lot quicker here for B.
Yep.
Divine is going to be so low on gold.
Like, I want to see if he pulls villages. That's the really important part, is because usually this drop of the gatehouse ends up happening on the central islands, but he only has, like, a few villages out, right? I think 1 on each island or something. So he might just build it on his main towards the left side of his initial tree line. Oh, wow. Okay, no, I like this more, actually. He goes Spirit Way first, and that means he still has the gatehouse option when he has to move for a central island. That's a really cool deviation. I haven't seen that often out of players on this map, but now, with all these docks, the 4 docks as well, and how delayed Divine's timing is, I'm a bit worried. I think that this Central Island's shipyards, they could push out 2 Baochuans and take out all this forward dock line before you can use it.
Yeah, Imperial Age already in here for B, and Divine, he's just lacking gold so badly. It's not just that, though. It's the fact that B had a lot better food eco throughout this entire game, and the whole thing just culminates in him having a much better influx of resources that propels him to this better Imperial Age timing. In mirror matchups, we often say that it all comes down to small differences, but I think it's even more apparent in this game. This was just a sheer difference in build orders and optimization, and that is exactly where B has managed to gain a massive upper hand compared to Divine.
I mean, nothing about this was small to me. Like, you know, we talk small differences, but that was a substantial difference. And this is why, like, you know, if you're playing a greed matchup, prioritizing greed is the play, right? And Divine, he didn't really do that. Like, the fact that he was even gold behind, despite the fact he built his Imperial Academy sooner, tells the entire story. We know the outcome, by the way. Anyone who's looking is like, well, this is just obviously Divine calls GG, right? We have to be conscious of the fact that he doesn't know that B has already secured practically everything on the map but the starting island of Divine. Now, this is his defense point, right? We talked about the fact his second wood line is here, and that's why he's placing it here. But that means there's nothing to defend his backside. Like, these Baochuans, once they're done with the front side, they're going to wrap around. And at this count, I don't know how Divine gets an answer together quick enough.
I feel like the bigger issue here, KP, is that peninsula just screams for a landing at this point. And B does have a substantial fishing eco. He does have a lot of food that he won't be able to use in the near future. If he has this position where he can land, he could just drop a couple of barracks, start spamming out some palace guards, and that's going to be awfully difficult for Divine to clean up.
He's even going for the astronomical clock tower. So this is a cool idea, actually. I would have preferred it on that island we just looked at. So So the logic of the astronomical clock tower is like, if your opponent is going to get the tech up and is going to get some Bao-Chuans, the one solution to that can be getting bombards, right? So if you built that clock tower on the central island, not only would you have them in the naval warfare, you could then transpo ship them across and snipe down the remaining landmarks. But B, he's just going to be chill about this. He's going to get his tech ups. He's got Tide Bonds on the way. He's already hoovered up 4 relics, another one to be banked. And now the fishing eco is going to get shut down. These Bao-Chuans are absolutely vicious when it comes to that. Great Wall Gatehouse. Oh, I think it's risky, but he kind of just could maybe dive this.
Yeah.
Like, I think he has enough runs here for this.
Yeah, there's a bit of a
They
traffic
stop
jam here with the
baiting right
Bao-Chuans.
now, like-
He isn't really focus firing the gatehouse, though.
I mean, that, you know, when a mummy Bao-Chuan and a daddy Bao-Chuan love each other very much, they get divorced. That's a divorce right there. So, is pushed away. A pricey exchange for him because he didn't really do anything. But he's so many Bao-Chuans ahead, it really doesn't hurt him.
New Bao-Chuan getting intercepted as they pop out of the dock just makes life so much more difficult for Divine. He cannot even build up his fleet at this point. And his effort to just build a navy dies in its infancy.
Yeah, it's the issue, right? Like when you give your opponent a tech lead like this, like if it's like 20 seconds, okay, he can't do that much of it because by the time he gets to your base, you've now got Bao-Chuans. But this was like, well, how much was it in the end? I'm not gonna lie, I switched off 2 minutes ago. This was like a minute and a half tech advantage, and Bao-Chuans take under 50 seconds. I think it's 42 seconds to produce these Goliaths of Navy. Yeah, that's never gonna end well.
Yeah, so many fishing boats also getting cleaned up over here. 16 eco killed by B, beg your pardon. Divine, none. Lost a bunch of landmarks, lost the Imperial Palace as well. So no extra line of sight for him on that little peninsula. But what's more alarming is the wood bank that you have here for Divine. Completely depleted. He has 5 more Bao-Chuans in queue to add to the 6 that he already has out, as compared to 16 on the field for B already.
You know, I actually think I figured out what count as Bao-Chuans, LidaKor. It's Bao-Chuans. Yeah. I don't know why we tried so hard. The solution was always simple, guys. You just mirror. I honestly expect, as we get deeper in this tournament, and no one's going to like hearing this, but it's true, you're just going to see more Chinese mirrors in Northern Islands. I don't think, with the accelerated start of Empire Wars, I can't think of a good solution to hit fast enough. Like, the closest we came was Dimu earlier today with his Galleus play, but even that felt like it couldn't do enough damage in that.
Divine building up his numbers. He's up to 10 Bao-Chuans now, slowly building that navy, but it still feels like he is 2 steps behind. It's a 200 population versus 150 game right now. Emplacements now being positioned out there for B. I feel like for him, realistically, the next step could be a landing or just a straight-up dive on one of the key positions, because at this point, he's pop-capped and needs to do something before Divine gets back into this game.
I mean, you say that, but Divine has to not only take really good fights, he then has to take the islands, right? Like, this is turning into a resource game. Like, B kind of can wait, because now Divine's on that second wood line, but you just saw the pings. It's not safe. He lost the Barbican, right? He lost the protection. If he goes further north, there's also Bao-Chuans waiting up here to clap him. Like, Divine has no wood. He has none.
Yeah, that's getting alarming. 400 per minute income.
And he's about to get munched up here. This is not the position to be in, Divine. I mean, that's just going to be 4 dead. And for a guy who can't really afford to lose wood at this stage, you just feel like you're stepping closer to the edge of the abyss.
Yeah, that is such a costly battle out there for him. He doesn't have wood to burn, yet he lost 4 Bao-Chuans for basically no gain. Needs to be careful getting close to these docks even now, many of them having emplacements already.
Well, he's going to try to go for that backstab attack. The problem is you've just come out into the open seas. And the problem with that is it means you haven't got this choke point where you keep the numbers even. And also, you abandoned ship, baby! You left the villages to defend themselves. Lucky to get away with only that many dead. speaking of abandoned ships, these people are going to be vacating unwillingly very fast. This retreat.
And look
It's
at the
not
trap out there
successful.
by the
Oh,
two
that
leftover
backstab.
Baoshuns.
I mean, if he just sniped them straight away, he cleans them up, but it's too late now. Damage is done. Divine, I mean, this was his big boy fleet, right? He's still got 7 split up somewhere else, but 7 won't do it. GG gets called. China keeps that constant win. Every single War on Island game will be a Chinese win.
The quick strike out here for B really comes down to how well optimized this build was compared to what Divine had. And when you have 10 Baoshuns against none, that is a big advantage to speak of. You see that differential in the Imperial Age timings, about 8 minutes compared to 10:30. That's basically what seals the deal in this game in the favor of B.